So if someone's like, hey, you know what? I just want to make my goal, replace my job. Let's say they make $120,000 a year. I'm just going to throw it out to your audience. Just buy one or two mobile home parks and make $10,000 a month in cash flow, and it just replaced your job.
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
Hello, and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton, and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we focus on the mindset, motivation, and methodologies of successful real estate investors. And really thrilled today to be welcomed by Walter Johnson, the president and founder of Sonos Capital. Welcome, Walter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to talking some mobile home parks. But before we get going, can you give our audience just a little bit more about yourself and maybe your real estate focus?
Yeah. So I'm the CEO and founder of Sonos Capital. So what we do, we actually have I would say a 506, a private equity fund that we invest our investors' capital into mobile home parks. I would say about 13 states, but usually they're landlord-friendly states. So we buy about mid to large size mobile home parks across the U.S.
All right, nice. Well, excited to kind of deep dive into that. But before we get going, we always start our podcast off with some motivation. So can you share your motivational quote?
Yeah, I would say my motivational quote at this moment, let me think, it would be the change you want to see. And
Okay.
the reason why I like that is because we can actually, project or say, what's wrong with the world or society or real estate or tech or AI. But, let's look at each other. And if we want to see a change, be the change.
Yeah, I love that. Like, start with yourself, be the change. I really like that quote. I appreciate you sharing that with the audience today. So, kind of transitioning into our main topic, how can you help our audience of real estate investors? And so, you mentioned you had a fund, you primarily invest in mobile home parks. So, maybe we start off really kind of basic. Why mobile homes? Like, why did you select this asset of real estate investing for your fund?
Well, just being in investing for about 20 years now, we can all say, real estate's real estate, but what
Mhm.
really prompted me to actually buy mobile home parks and and continue to actually help other investors as well is that not all real estate investing is the same. I like cash flow.
Mhm.
I like to be able to take a property, put new homes into it, change it aesthetically, increase the value. So one
Mhm.
of the things that separates it, I bought single family homes or condos or land. You buy it and you
Yeah.
hope that it actually goes up. I don't think that's actually a really great strategy for real estate investment. So I like to actually have cash flow to where it comes in every month. And I like to actually have the ability to increase the value at the same time.
Yeah, that force appreciation. You and I both love that, to be able to get into these assets and force appreciation. So, for those that maybe don't know, like in the mobile home aspects, or like how are you forcing that appreciation, or is there a specific kind of value add that you're looking for when you're going to purchase these mobile home parks?
Yeah, so force appreciation. Yeah, as you're looking for something that actually has now typically a mobile home park has about 30 to 35% expense ratio, right? And apartments actually
Okay.
are higher than that. But let's just take a mobile home park right now. But you'll see an owner that has, below market rents and their expense ratio could be 50, 55, even 60%. So you're able to actually decrease those expenses by half and at the same time increase the rents. Take for example,
Okay.
I'll kind of kind of show your audience an example or explain it to your audience an example. We'll take a park. Let's just say a 100 space park, and it's 80% occupied. So we have about 80 people paying space rent. So let's say you January 1st, 2025, you raise the rent $50. So 50
Hmm.
times 80, right, about 40, 45,000 or $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
48,000, excuse me. Um, and then, because it's times 12. Once you actually have that, you divide that by, let's say, a six cap. So you and do that for about 3 years. Now you increase that income or the value of that park about 2.5 million, but you increase that revenue about 100 like $100 and some thousand, $140,000 a year. So that's
Okay.
really difficult. So one, I got like close to $150,000 a year in net income, and then I increased the value of that park or my net worth about a few million bucks. So I definitely like that aspect of mobile home parks and how you're able to scale value and income.
Absolutely. So are you looking, is there a certain kind of buy box that you have that you're looking for a specific, like you'd kind of mentioned vacancy, kind of help me walk me through that, like your purchasing process or what you're looking for when you're evaluating mobile homes.
Yeah, so I do my own underwriting. We're actually going to hire a underwriter here in a bit, acquisition underwriter manager.
Nice.
But I do my own underwriting. So when you look at a park, you're saying, let's just say it's 60% occupied. So we'll just throw something out
Hmm.
there, 60%. So at a 100 space park, 60% occupied. You look at the numbers. Can I actually bring in homes? And let's just say you want to bring in 20 homes over the next 3 years. Can that park support that traffic and people actually buying homes, becoming homeowners? And that's one of the things I look at. So I look at population, I look at employment, I look at the traffic on the park, and and we put out advertisement, some testers. So we do that through Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook, Zillow, even the MLS. And so we kind of get this traffic and we test that out during our due diligence phases.
Okay. And I guess, like, how many parks are you purchasing per year? How many are you placing into the fund? You know, and are you like currently buying? Like, what is the like what's the environment for real estate investing in mobile homes right now?
Yeah, the environment is competitive, is because a lot of apartment. I know you're a multifamily guy, but there's a lot.
Yeah,
Multifamilies, I think, hit this plateau. Of course, we're starting to see it backtrack a little bit, but mobile home park
exactly.
still has a ton of steam to go. Yes, there is competition, but there's um, still some great opportunities out there. So, what we look for to answer your questions, I would say our goal is probably about 1,100 spaces per year. So that can mean
Okay.
6 parks or it could mean 2 parks. It all depends on how big the park is. Right now, we're actually looking at one
Okay.
here in Arizona. I think it's 480 spaces. And then, we're looking at, we close on one actually next Tuesday. So we're very active. That's actually our kind of our buy box there, our buy box goal.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a lot of units every year. Yeah, for sure. And so, are there specific states? I think you'd mentioned maybe tenant-friendly states, or
Mhm.
that you're currently buying in, or those that you're currently evaluating purchasing in.
Yes. Yeah. So for your audience, I would target landlord states. And let's say, for example, some of your audience may have real estate, let's say in New York. And I'm not picking on them, and their investments could be doing really well, but I just want to share an example. So if you actually look at this, New York, you only can increase the rents 5% per year, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, last time I read. So, but inflation is more than 5%. So the your expenses and whoever works on your properties, the labor costs, your traveling costs, everything's actually above the 5%. But if you can only survive at 5% for an annual rent increase, you're actually losing money. And that's actually what happened in the 70s in New York. So it's kind of history repeats itself.
Okay.
Is that the government did something similar? You actually see in the developers or the real estate investors that actually own those, let's say, high rises and investment properties. They couldn't increase their property to keep up with increase their rents actually to keep up with inflation. And so what essentially happens, they become slumlords because the property goes into disarray. So like,
Yeah, they don't have the money to improve it or do anything to it because they're basically losing money on the asset.
right, yeah, yeah. So I think, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I hope that actually doesn't happen because I don't want to see investors lose money. I like when people actually make money because people are excited and creates this synergy.
Oh yeah,
But unfortunately, if things keep going the way they are, I think history is definitely going to repeat itself. Let's say in New York. So um,
yeah.
we like,
Some of the tougher
oh yeah,
markets.
100%. So we like to actually invest in landlord friendly states.
Okay. And then like as far as sourcing deals, how are you sourcing deals? Are they all off market? Do you guys do all your own marketing, or help me with that
Well, I would
focus?
say about 90% of our deals are off market. I'd say a
Okay.
little bit above 90%. We source our own deals. I
Hmm.
think that's actually the best route to go. I think we do have a few relationships with brokers, but for the most part, we're sourcing our own deals.
Okay. That seems to be the biggest source of success I find with real estate investors is that they're finding their own deals, and it just seems like, they're able to find such better deals off market with mom and pops than they are with traditional sales or just what's on market. Um so, do you have property management in house? How do you kind of deal with that property management? I'm just not as familiar with mobile home property management. I know kind of there's so much available in the multifamily space, but is it difficult to find? I know like when I look at like a more of a C or D type tenant base, more difficult to find property management, maybe more expensive. Is that similar in the mobile home space, or how do you manage these assets
Yeah. So
and so
yeah.
many of
So
them?
remember
I
back in
guess.
the 70s, you see them. You see like an apartment building, and then let's say it was like a 20 unit apartment building, and you actually had the
Hmm.
manager that lived in one of the units, and then you paid rent. So you knocked on their door. It's like, hey, here's my rent, right? So
Yeah.
the manager actually managed that property on site. So that's really similar to what mobile home parks are, even
Okay.
today. So you just manage the manager on the property.
Very nice. Yeah. I mean, that's a little bit easier than having to go out there and source somebody, I guess. And yeah, it's a win-win for that person, maybe getting a little bit, discounted or free rent to be able to just collect checks for you and everything. And you got kind of boots on the ground living on the asset, which is pretty nice for sure.
Yeah, usually pay them, a couple $1,000 a month, like 2,000, 2,500 bucks. So it's let's say they're making $30,000 a year, and they get free rent.
Yeah,
So it's a great opportunity for managers as well.
absolutely. What's like the most common myth you hear about, mobile home investing, or something that you want to debunk about real estate investing in mobile home parks?
Oh yeah, I would say the stigma, the people. I was actually watching the
Yeah.
show over the weekend. What is it called? Welcome to Modern Manor. It was a mobile home park in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right? And it was a
Okay.
reality show, so of course they make it, the dramatics. But the people are really
Of
cool.
course.
It's a community. It's fun, but it still has a stigma. So
Hmm.
these reality shows don't do it justice. If you actually look at where Eminem, we probably, your audience probably heard of him, right? Once or twice,
Yeah.
right? He lived in 8 Mile trailer park, and if you actually look at that, I mean, it's like a suburb. It's not that bad. Actually, I think it's sold.
Yeah.
Somebody bought it, I think, like a year or so ago for like 4 million bucks. So it's actually a good park, and it's 100%
That's
occupied.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah, definitely that stigma. I definitely think there's definitely negative connotations there and everything. Um,
yeah.
what have I missed? Like, what questions have I maybe not asked you that you'd like to share with the audience? If maybe an investor's out there
Hmm.
listening and they haven't thought of mobile home investing,
Hmm.
not a sales pitch, but like help them understand the value of real estate investing in mobile home parks.
Yeah, well, everyone's different as far as real estate investment. Some people actually just like they want to get 500, 1,000 bucks a month in cash flow, right? They're just like, I
Yeah.
just want that. Or someone wants to buy a house and, hey, I actually want to buy this house because in 15, 20 years, my kids are actually going to be out of school, or this is going to be their kids' college funds, or, we're going to sell it and give it to our children and let them actually have a head start in life. So it's all different. Mine, I would recommend if you're actually into real estate, I would strongly recommend just looking at mobile home parks. And the reason being is because it throws off cash. It's the only real estate commercial vehicle that you can actually make 20% cash on cash return, and above 20% cash on cash return day one.
Yeah.
So that's really difficult to do in single family homes. Apartment buildings is tough, and but I think mobile home parks. So if someone's like, hey, you know what, I just want to make my goal replace my job. Let's say they make $120,000 a year. I'm just going to throw out to your
Sure.
audience. Just buy one or two mobile home parks and make $10,000 a month in cash flow, and it just replaced your job. That's actually how it works.
It's that easy,
Mhm.
huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I don't really have any other questions, but is there anything that I missed that you think would be helpful to the audience to know?
Yeah, have them reach out to me.
Okay.
I'm not trying to sell them or have them invest in our funds. Of course, we only take accredited investors, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more about education and opportunity to actually learn a different sector of real estate investing. And so when you actually have that, it pays for itself in so many ways. But at least you have someone that's actually willing to give the knowledge versus selling a seminar or course. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely include all Walter's contact information in our show notes. So if you're interested in learning more about mobile home parks or investing in mobile parks and you're an accredited investor, please feel free to reach out to Walter and find out what him and his team at Sonos Capital is all about and what they're up to. Walter, you ready for the hot seat?
sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. We ask all our guests the same final four hot questions. And so, number one, what is one book you'd recommend to someone wanting to know more about real estate investing?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I wouldn't say real estate investment. I would say investment actually,
Okay.
or even just getting rich or wealthy. It's a How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. That was not about how to get rich. There's no instruction in there. He talks actually about the journey of getting rich. I think he was like one of the richest uh, British individuals. He's probably before he met probably
Okay.
$1 billion. But he talks about the pains and the doubts and the
Mm,
pitfalls and the temptations, and like learning that before you actually try to go to the next level, try to get wealthy. I think that's actually important because at least you're prepared. So if you actually have stumbling blocks or obstacles, you're like, this is actually normal. If you actually have
yeah.
some delays, if you actually have some, you know what, I made 200 grand, let me actually go buy a new car or a vacation, to resist those type of temptations and keep going.
I love that. Yeah, our show's all about that mindset too, and so I think that's one of those things with mindset. Creeps in doubt sometimes when you get success, or you might grow that ego a little too
Yeah.
quick before you're really to the success that you can reach if you didn't have that ego. So great book recommendation. What's your favorite productivity tip or trick? Maybe a tool, an app, or a time saver that allows you to get more done than the average person.
I have a things to do. I've been doing that things to do. A friend of mine actually told me about it. It's simple, and I can email it to you so you can email it to your audience. Just a thing to
Okay.
do. It actually has a date and it has the day and the date. And I just write that. I've been using it since 2005, I would say. And so
Okay.
my when I was actually a mortgage broker, before I had it, my income was this, and I started putting these things to do, and I use that every single
Yep.
day, and literally my income doubled just because I was able to write down things to do, look at it,
Nice.
tackle it, and then keep move to the next item. So I use that. That's actually a very simple task that helps me.
Yeah, I find sometimes those simple things and just writing something down, it's so powerful and it just gets you so much more accomplished throughout the day. So yeah, definitely email it to me. We'll share it in the show notes so that the audience can have that resource.
Mhm.
What's your biggest real estate mistake or failure, and what did you learn from that
Yeah, I
experience?
remember I bought a condo one time. It's probably 2006, and I was like, it was a condo conversion, or yeah, condo conversion. So it was apartment buildings, and then they converted it to condos. But it was actually in a good area, and so I bought that, and I think I was losing like $400 a month on that place because I
Mm,
was like, oh well, it's a new Phoenix is actually doing well. It's 2006, and I'm thinking it's going to go up in value this much money, and it never did. It almost kind of stayed the
yeah.
same. So I don't. That was a mistake. I don't focus and bank on appreciation anymore like that.
Oh, such a great lesson. You know, it's like I love the story in Rich Dad Poor Dad where he's like the dad's like talking, he's like, what made you think losing $50 a month was a good
Right.
investment?
Right.
Like, you know, and it's like, you know, but I know people like that go, hey, I love Phoenix, I love the appreciation, I'll buy it. In 10 years, it'll be worth something. It's like you're gonna lose money for 10 years
Right.
before, you know, it's like sometimes people just don't think through things. And final question, if you could be remembered for one thing, Walter, what would it be?
Helping people. So I don't. This is not necessarily all about the money. It's actually putting people, in affordable housing. You should see their face
Hmm.
when you actually do it. So it's just helping people. I think once you actually have a refrigerator full of food and big screen TV, you're pretty content. And if you can go out for a burger that weekend, I mean, life is actually pretty good. But when you go and extend yourself and sacrifice to actually help other people, and you see the gratitude of humanity, I think that's what I want to be remembered for.
Love it. And great answer and perfect answer for this podcast, which it's the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, but Hot REI, my business, actually stands for helping others through real estate investing. And so we try to give back through education, through investment opportunities, and just, great organizations. And so really perfect answer. The best place for the Hot REI community to connect with Walter is going to be on LinkedIn. We'll include that in our show notes, as well as all his other contact information. So please go out there. And if you have more questions about mobile homes, or you're interested in an accredited investor and want to get started with mobile home investing, definitely give Walter a shout out, see what he can do for you. To the audience, thank you for tuning in today. This was a lot of fun. I hope you learned something about mobile home parks. I know I did. And commit to taking action today to move your investing forward. Take care and God bless. Thank you, Walter, for being on the show, man.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast. Check out our website, hotrei.com, for additional content and resources. And please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review so we can continue to bring even more value to others through real estate investing.